Aha! The print and copy shop. That's exactly what I need. Excuse me? I just need to make a copy of this document. Is that something you can do here? Why, of course, sir. Right over here we have our brand new self-service copy machine. Why don't you give it a go? Thanks. Alright, let's see. Copy machine, self-service instructions. 1. Prepare your document for copying. 2. Move into water stream, moving with momentum. 3. Right-click copier and insert document. 4. Wait until reaching the portal and walk through. Well, this seems straightforward enough. Alright. Walk into the water stream, right-click the copier, insert the document, and then... Oh, look at that! We've got 2 documents. I wonder if... Okay, that shopkeeper's busy doing a stock take or something. Let's see if we can... Yes, we can photocopy diamonds. Okay, the ultimate test is can we take the diamonds and turn them into diamond blocks? There we go, it's a slow process, but we're getting there. We can! We better be quick before we get caught. That customer's taking an awfully long time. You there! Stop what you're doing! I gotta get out of here! Minecraft really is the game that keeps on giving. Hello everybody, welcome back to Minecraft The Journey with me, BugmanCX. I'm just creeping around being extra quiet because I'm not sure if that shopkeeper has left and I wanted to pop back inside here and see what was going on. Ah, yes, the coast is clear. All right, I wanted to show you this over here. This appears to be a classic crafting grid nether portal duplication machine. And we've seen this Minecraft duplication glitch before, many times in this series, in fact. And if we just pop a diamond in here and go through the portal, you will see that the crafting grid interface gets interrupted and we end up with 2 diamonds on the floor. One of them's the real diamond and one of them is a fake diamond, sort of. When I walk into the pile here, you can see that I've picked up a diamond, and if I load up the crafting grid here, you'll see that this diamond keeps duplicating over and over, although I've only got 2 here in my inventory at the moment because one of these is negatively stacked, and that prevents the game from picking up any more. But if I move them up here to the crafting grid, you'll see that they consistently keep getting picked up, and I can keep moving them into all of these slots because I keep taking 1 more diamond away from this pile down here, reducing its count by 1 to -1, -2, -3, and so on. And then we can create a block of diamond. And these diamonds are real diamonds because once they've been crafted into the block, that whole negative stack thing goes away. And these are actual legit diamonds that we can craft back into real diamonds. Oh, that one's still a fake diamond, but these, I assure you, are absolutely real, and I can duplicate these as much as I want. In fact, I can do this with all sorts of items in the game. Now, the duplication works for all types of items, but it isn't very practical for everything. For instance, if I right-click on any block while I'm holding one of these glitch diamonds, you can see that it disappears. So with something like a duplicated block that you can place down in the world, the same thing happens. It just disappears, so you can't use it for building or anything like that. And don't run around with your duplicated tools and then open doors because, it's just going to disappear. But it is useful for items that you can use in crafting recipes and items that are consumable. If I eat a glitched golden apple, you'll see that when I finish eating it, it stays in my inventory. And that's because it's just reduced the amount in the stack by 1. Down into the negative numbers. The same can be done with ender pearls. So I can basically have an unlimited supply of ender pearls in my hotbar at all times. I've used this bug before over here in the furnace array with my negatively stacked coal right here in the fuel slot. But then I thought, why don't I take this 1 step further? And so I came up with this. The restocking station. It uses dispensers, and inside of each of the dispensers are negatively stacked items. The golden apples, the ender pearls, some food, and down here, some diamond blocks just for fun. And the way this works is I can press the button and dispense an item, and now I get a golden apple in my inventory. But on the ground here, I also get one of these ghost negatively stacked golden apples. So all I need to do is just open up the dispenser again, place one back into the slot so that it's always replenished, and now I've got unlimited golden apples. I can do this with the ender pearls, and I can do this with food, and I can do this with diamonds as well. Now, diamonds are interesting because all I need to do is take a block of diamonds like this and pop it back into the dispenser here, and now I've got this extra block of diamonds in my inventory. Here at the crafting table, I can just pick it up, and as long as that one on the ground, which you can't see at the moment, stays here at my feet, it'll keep replenishing my inventory like this, so I can keep creating diamonds out of thin air just by standing here. And as long as I keep these dispensers stocked up, and for as long as this negatively stacked item bug exists, I can have an unlimited supply of all of these things for a very long time. Now, is it technically exploiting a bug in the game? Well, yes, but I do love exploring these bugs and sort of converting them into interesting builds and ideas within my world. And so this I've built really just for fun. Snapshots! Now that Minecraft is fully released, at least from our point of view, the developers are going to move to a snapshot model for future development. The way this works is that the developers will be working towards the next major release, but in between, they'll be releasing several snapshots, and these snapshots will represent new features, new gameplay mechanics, and all sorts of new bugs as well. They'll basically be an unfinished version of what's intended to be the next major release. But before we come on to the snapshots, I did want to mention that release 1.0.0, which we're on right now, did actually see a 1.0.1 release, but it was only server-side to fix a couple of bugs, so there's not even anything worth exploring client-side. As we get into release 1.1, there were a total of 5 snapshots released. So I've been asked many times how I'm going to handle snapshots in this series, and I really enjoyed running through Minecraft InfDev and Alpha and Beta and exploring all of the mechanics and bugs as they emerged into the game for the first time. So I think I'm going to continue that on as we go through the major releases. I'll go through the snapshots, but I won't necessarily choose every single snapshot. I'll just choose ones that make sense to move to because not all of them will. There are also some snapshots that are going to be significantly game-breaking, and we'll need to watch out for that and plan carefully because I don't want to destroy this world. We want it to continue forever. So, why don't we get straight into it with our first snapshot, 11W47A. The way the snapshot naming convention works is pretty straightforward. 11 means that the snapshot was released in the year 2011, W47 for week 47 of that year, and the A means that this was the first snapshot released for that week. So let's go. Well, now we're on Minecraft's very first snapshot, and I would say this is one of those examples of a snapshot that I would just skip normally, but since it was Minecraft's very first snapshot, I thought I needed to upgrade to it. Oh, hi. In this version, which is 11W47A, there were some subtle code optimizations, as well as a bug fixing a double door glitch. Wait a minute. Does that mean my moon-based doors will work? Nope. Must have been something else. Now, perhaps you knew that up until Minecraft Beta 1.9 pre-release 6, you were able to place these fence blocks underneath farmland, and that would prevent any player or mob or anything like that being able to trample the crops. Now, this was a little bit of a hack because this exploits the fact that this fence block is 1.5 blocks high, and it prevents this block from reverting from farmland back to dirt. So it's a great way of being able to go around and do all of your farming without actually damaging any of your farmland. And yes, you can break the crops and it will always stay as farmland. But this was fixed in Beta 1.9 pre-release 6 so that farmland would be trampled again. But the community wasn't too pleased about this because trampling farmland is really annoying. In snapshot 11W48A, Jeb decided to make some changes and prevent farmland from getting trampled if the player was simply walking on it. Jumping would still have a chance to trample the farmland, so it seems like a reasonable compromise. But this change had some unexpected side effects. Throwing items on farmland now causes crops to break, but particles will also cause crops to break. Ugh, Jeb, you've just gone and made it worse. If you've got a good memory, you'll remember that apples were introduced in Minecraft InDev, but they haven't been accessible in vanilla Minecraft since InfDev, when a lot of the game's code was reworked. They are technically possible to obtain if you kill a player named Notch. Notch will drop an apple, and that's how we were able to obtain this one, by triggering the game to think we were logged in as Notch and managed to obtain ourselves an apple. But this is the first version where apples will now drop naturally within the game. There's a 1 in 200 chance for an apple to drop from a leaf block, so we need to get up there, chop some trees, and see if we can obtain an apple from an actual tree. Up here is where I like to do a lot of my tree chopping. That's why this section here is so densely packed with trees. Now the apples will only drop from this type of leaf block here, which I don't know if this is called an oak tree yet, but for now it's just the regular tree. So we'll chop down a load of these, and it shouldn't take us very long, I don't think, before we finally get ourselves our very first official apple. Look at that. That didn't take very long at all. Our very first all-natural, organically grown, red delicious apple. First apple dropped by Notch, and our first organically grown apple. Perfect. The last time I was over here at Lake Goop, there was far less snow. In fact, it's never snowed over here. And it did rain last night, which means that in snowy areas of the world, it'll snow at the same time that it's raining. So maybe that accounts for why there's all of this snow here. But I've never seen it before. But it is funny because in 11W48A, some temperature changes were applied to the taiga biomes. It was changed from 0.3 to 0.05 to fix a problem where snow wasn't able to accumulate on the ground. But I'm so used to this area, this change just caught me by surprise. I guess I'll have to get used to it. I think it's quite funny how these bugs and improvements are still being applied to the game, even though it officially went release just a couple of weeks prior to these snapshots coming out. It's almost as if the game wasn't ready, right? There was only one more change in this snapshot, that was removal of the void fog in creative mode. Not even worth covering. So let's just blitz through these updates like we have been and get to the next snapshot. Snapshot 11W49A, and this one's actually a really interesting one. First, I'm out here at the main screen because we have this new icon over here, and this icon takes us to languages. Languages are a culmination of work by the Minecraft community. Just before this snapshot went out, Jeb asked for help on the Minecraft forum, and this kicked off a huge amount of community-driven translations. A few days later, and after this snapshot was released, Jeb wrote on the Mojang website, "I would like to give a huge thanks to all of you who helped out translating the game, and to the Minecraft Coder Pack team for helping out with the administration of the language files. Also, a big thanks to Ryan Scavelis Hitchman for help with the Unicode rendering." By December 14th, this translation effort had become so big that Jeb posted that this project had been moved over to the Crowdin service. This service is still used today for the Minecraft language translations. Over the next few snapshots, there are going to be a lot more translations that were completed and added to the game, including some unusual ones, so we'll have to check out those as we go. For now, let's have a look here at the language screen and see what we've got. You can already see some Unicode characters here for Bulgarian, and going down, what else do we have? This one looks pretty interesting. I think that's Hebrew, and then further down we have some Chinese and some other Asian languages here, so you can really see that Minecraft's Unicode character support is now implemented into the game. But these fonts look very different to the standard English Minecraft font that we have, so what happens if we select one? Well, it changes the entire game. The font is now this more basic Unicode font, and in fact, if I go through to the Done menu, you'll see the whole game is like this. So if I go in this way and go into the world, we are now in Russian, I believe. Look at the number 1 character down there in the experience bar, and if we bring up the F3 screen, you'll also see that this is a really lean font. In fact, it's much nicer for the F3 screen, I've got to say. I don't mind the Minecraft font itself, but it is rather blocky and bulky. It really is quite unusual to see Minecraft with a different font like this. Have a look at these signs in this tiny, thin font. You can barely read it from a distance, but when you go into the chest, these stack numbers are really small and lean, and I really like it that way. Unfortunately, I can't read Russian, so if I didn't know what these items were already, I'd be in real strife. But have a look over here, they're all like this as well. Everything seems a little bit miniaturized. But what I want to do is see if we can write something on this sign here. I'm hoping. Unfortunately, I've tried typing some Russian characters into this sign. I've tried pasting them in. I've tried using an auto hotkey script to force them to be typed in. I've even tried changing my keyboard to Russian in order to type them in directly, but Minecraft will not accept them, so unfortunately you can't have foreign characters on your signs yet. I'm sure this will be supported in the future. With the farmland changes that have been worked on in the last couple of versions, one significant change has been made in this version which I'm pretty pleased about, and that relates to the pumpkins and the melons. Each time that I harvest pumpkins and melons in this way, let's just bring the farm back up, even though it's not ready to push all those drops down, you can see that all of this farmland is reverted to soil, and unfortunately that means that you have to go around and re-till all of that soil, because up until now, pumpkins and melons could not fruit onto anything but farmland. That's all changed in this version. They're now able to fruit on dirt, maybe on other blocks too, but this means that my pumpkin and melon farm just got a whole lot easier to manage. One more welcome change is something that was added way back in Classic, but has now been reincorporated into this modern version of the game here, and that's to do with the sheep behind me. Back in Classic, when the sheep were first added, they were able to eat the grass beneath their feet and regrow their fleeces. That hasn't been in the game ever since then, ever since the code, as I said before, was refactored during InfDev, but now it's possible for them to regrow their fleeces again, as long as I use some shears to chop off their wool. Let's see just how much one pair of shears can get me. Tell you what, there was not one thing I enjoyed about that. This farm is not very efficient. The sheep are all over the place, especially recording that in multiplayer mode means that the mobs are even worse and even more glitchy. So half of them came out of their pens, half of them wound up in the wrong pens. Most of them are wandering around outside of their pens. And oh, look. There's even a creeper over there in that one. That wasn't fun. But I did get quite a good haul. Let's have a look. We got tons of wool just from that one set of shears and 2 eggs, apparently. But this is a total of, carry the one, 486 blocks of wool here. Now, the drop rate for sheep did get reduced because of their ability to eat the grass and regrow their fleeces. It used to be between 2 and 4, and now it's between 1 and 3. But I think that's not a bad compromise considering how much wool we just got for just a few minutes worth of work. That ought to do it for today. Thank you for joining me in this episode. There's still more to cover in this snapshot, so stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to explore something quite interesting. Before I go, I just wanted to mention something that I noticed. This sheep up here and that sheep over there, they're both stranded on little blocks on the cliff, and those sheep have been there since I moved into this area, however long ago that was, quite a long time ago now. So I just thought that was quite interesting. I'm never going to move them. They're always just going to remain there, trapped for eternity. But that ought to do it for now. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you to my amazing patrons. This has been BugmanCX. You've been watching Minecraft The Journey. Bye-bye.